Thunder. Welcome, Danny, and welcome, Luke, to Linea Rock.
Hello there.
Great to have you here. So Thunder, just, the best hard rock blues, the classic, high caliber way. A force of nature, I must say, indeed, still after 30 years and 13 albums. All the right noises, new album, and the title, says it all. By the way, it's record of the week here at Linea Rock. And thanks to you guys, for giving me my personal record of the year already. So
thank you.
I'm going to be your girl tonight, and I'm happy for that. Okay. So the album is out since March 12th. Last week, and you presented it during a live streaming on the 13th, Saturday. What a show was that. How differently exciting, let's say, was it to be back on stage for the live stream? Okay, I know you're used, to cameras, but in this case, the audience was completely virtual. So it must have been difficult for you. And also, what about Ben? How is he? His hairdresser works very slow, I must say.
Okay. Well, we've been questioned and asked to do a live stream ever since lockdown began. And we resisted the idea purely and simply because for us, we need an audience. The Thunder Show is all about 50-50. The band brings the music, the fans bring the excitement, and then it just builds. We do this, they do that, and then it builds and builds. And in the end, all our heads come off and lava comes out. It's a very big, exciting thing. So to do it without an audience was very hard. So we talked about it for a long time before we decided that we would do it this way, to enjoy it with an audience who were via video. It was the closest thing we could have to the audience in the room with us. And it wasn't the same, but it was pretty good. It was good, wasn't it, Luke?
Yeah. As musicians, it's just great to play anyway. Just the fact that we hadn't played for quite a while. It was lovely to get in the room and play. The thing with the audience is interesting. As Danny said, 50% of a Thunder show is about the audience. And without the audience, it's like, okay, well, how are we going to do that? So the reason we kind of tried to set it up more like a TV studio than a gig. We didn't want it to look like a gig with nobody there. We wanted it to be like people watching us via Zoom or whatever while we were in the studio. It was slightly different feel. And I think we managed to do that. And it was very enjoyable. It was strange, undoubtedly, when you're looking at people on a big screen in front of you and you can see them all, way, but you can't hear them. It's very weird. But it's better than them not being there at all. So, it was great.
Sure. And how is Ben?
How is Ben? Ben is recovering.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been unwell, but he is recovering. It's a slow process, but he is getting better.
Okay, so we send him, all the best and hope to see him very soon. Is this performance going to be released also on DVD or something like that? We saw the video, which some of the images are from that show, but is it going to some way be released in its entirety?
I would say it is 100% certain that it will be released, yes, at some stage in the future.
Good news.
It was a very expensive thing to do. And as we probably know about record companies, if they spend money, they want to get it back.
Okay. You worked on the record during lockdown, and you're back in full throttle, I must say, inspired and very motivated with a top-notch record, which is really all killer, no filler kind of album. Apparently, it wasn't bad at all for you to stay home, writing, relaxed and focused on the new material, or so maybe some, reflecting on these times, because the record is really amazing. Awesome. What do you think about that?
Well, the record actually was written before lockdown. We had it was finished, it was recorded and everything just before lockdown. And we originally was due to be released, I think, in September last year. But obviously, lockdown happened and everything went out the window, everything. Touring, release dates, chaos. So, since then, really, we've just been kind of like every other musician that's releasing records and touring. We've just been watching the world and kind of listening to what people are telling us. And our touring has been put back twice. And once the album went back 6 months, we decided that really we didn't want to put it back anymore. That was enough. We couldn't get out and tour, but we thought at least we can get some great music out there. And we're very proud of the album, so we wanted people to hear it as soon as possible.
So you mean that not even a song like Don't Forget to Live Before You Die was composed during, these horrible times we're living?
No, it was written before. It's really interesting, though, because we've both done lots of interviews, and everybody is asking me, it's really funny that some of the songs, they could have been written about lockdown and about COVID and everything. But no, they're all written before.
Stunning. Okay. The cover photo with the singing, ringing tree is fantastic. How is, it perfectly related with the content of the record? How the idea came about? And also you have the vinyl with the pop-up, which is particular.
Well, I think when we decided on the title of the album, it's taken from the song Destruction, which is the second song on the record. And it's a line in the lyric. So we decided that was the title of the album because it's quite cheeky, and it makes an assumption that, we're providing all the right noises and hopefully people will agree. So we like that. We like the cheekiness. And Luke started Googling unusual musical instruments, and the singing ringing tree came up. And the moment he saw it, he knew, and he showed it to us, and we all agreed that's what we had to have. But we didn't want to use a standard photograph because there are hundreds. We wanted to go there and take the photograph. So in between lockdown 1 and lockdown 2, Luke and our friend Jason went to Burnley in Lancashire and took photographs of the singing ringing tree. And the photograph you see on the cover of the album apparently was shot at 3:30 in the morning, just as the sun came up. So that's what it looks like. There's no Photoshop. That's just what it looked like at 3:30 in the morning.
Wow.
But what it doesn't tell you is how cold it was, because apparently
it was really, really cold. But it doesn't matter. Sometimes you have to suffer for your art, and it's okay. The photograph is brilliant. And we knew really as soon as we looked at it that it was right. So, it was worth the effort.
Thunder has been defined by the press, and not only the press, one of the most underrated bands in hard rock in terms, of big numbers. You basically did it your way, free, artistically focused, delivering, always high quality stuff. And you're still here, by the way, stronger than ever. What is your opinion, on this underrated thing? Do you agree, or actually you don't care at all and you still, go on straight on your path and you don't care?
Well, that's a good question.
I never really thought about it.
We don't feel underrated. We think we're great.
I think so too.
No, I think the most, the music industry it's a business. All we can do is make the best records, put on the best gigs, and make sure that we do everything as well as we can do it. We can't dictate fashion or radio or media or what people are going to play, or if you there's some bands who have had a hell of a lot of exposure all over the world, and some have done very well. But, them's the breaks. We've done fantastically well. 30-year career is an amazing thing. Yeah. So I think it would be very kind of miserable and bitter of us to say, we should have been bigger. And, at the end of the day, it's beyond our control. So, we just have to be as good as we can be. And, we have great fans. We share a very good relationship with our fans, and they're part of the reason we're here. So, we're lucky. We're still here. We're alive. We have our health. And I think the band really is getting better and better musically. The albums are getting more and more interesting. So it's all good.
How your way to, writing songs changed over the years, talking, also about motivation and mental approach to it. Also concerning the lyrics, always, so particular, so original, ironic in the message and also in the choice of the words. Is it now more simple and familiar practice for you to write a song, or you feel now like a bigger sense of responsibility behind it, since you always raise the bar? The records are always stunning and spectacular. So how do you live that?
It's not something that as a person that writes songs, it's not something that I think about too much. I mean, I just try and write songs that I think are interesting, and songs that that are right for the band. Songs that are right for Danny's voice and great for the band to play, and that would be great to play live. That's all of those things are at the back of my head when I'm writing songs. But really, I'm just sort of looking at the world and trying to make some sense of it like everybody else, and just trying to get that in a song, I guess. And it's not really it's about how you feel. Songwriting is all art, all creative art is about how you feel, and trying to communicate that feeling in a way that other people can identify with it and understand it and relate to it. And if you do that, then I think you're doing your job well. That's just what I try to do.
I haven't changed how I write songs at all over the years. It's always stayed exactly the same. It's because I don't do it.
Okay. Not even the lyrics, Danny? You don't even participate to that?
No. It's the most I can do to show up and sing.
Because the performance you always give, it's actually full, of intention. So I thought that maybe you were like part of it also in the writing process.
No. I mean, sometimes I don't even turn up.
Now we're going to see the video of the volcanic Last One Out, Turn Off the Lights, with, that also hint of a lot of love in it, which I like very much. Hoping that the lights, of all the stages around the world will turn back on as soon as possible. What's the metaphor behind, this title and this song?
It's really about, the song's really about Brexit and the fact that because of the way our government has all right, let me just put it, I'll make it really simple. I don't think Brexit's a very good idea, I think it's we've been part of Europe for 40 odd years, and it's great, that lovely thing about being able to go over borders and go in and out of countries and just feel like a European. It's wonderful, and to suddenly have that taken away is like setting us back 50 years. It's very, very bad, and I got very frustrated by the way this was kind of sold to the British people, because it was sold by frightening them about all the immigrants would come there and take all the jobs, and very, very bad. And so out of the frustration came the song, and it's basically referring to, as all the people leave the UK, can the last one please turn the lights off?
Okay, that's a good way to put it. And the whole lot of love thing is correct, or
no? See, the funny thing is, when the song was being written, I thought it sounded much more like Fire, the Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Okay.
And it was actually my wife. I was making a demo of the song, and she opened my door. She said, "That sounds like Led Zeppelin." I said, "No, it doesn't." She said, "Yes, it does. It sounds like a whole lot of love." And I went, "Oh yes, a little bit. Yeah." Still, it's too late.
Funny. The core of the band is still the same, with Gary, Ben, and since 1996 also Chris, since a long, long time. Look, you write the most of the songs, like you said, but how is everybody involved, creatively? I mean, do you have different roles? Because the band is pretty solid, and from the outside, the balance looks perfect. And I'm sure that it's one of the secrets of the band. So do you have different roles? And like, for example, Danny, what do you do?
What do I do? That's a very good question. What do I do?
Apart from singing, of course.
Well, occasionally I sing. And occasionally I kind of I make arrangements and and shout at people. That's kind of what I do most of the time. Harry doesn't do very much. Harry spends most of his time in bed asleep. Ben usually he's in bed asleep as well a lot of the time. Chris is much busier, and he does a lot of artwork stuff. Some of the artwork for our t-shirts, and also for on our online shop and stuff like that. He takes care of a lot of that stuff. He also is a very good audio engineer, so he mixes a lot of sound, especially our live albums. He mixed the TV special. We recorded that, and he mixed that and did a great job. So he's a very talented engineer. We keep him busy. Obviously, Luke is busy writing the songs most of the time, but Harry and Ben most of the time are asleep, I would say.
Okay. Danny and Luke, you have been compared to Page and Plant sometimes during your career, but you never separated like they did. I mean, you have that kind, of once in a lifetime artistic partnership. What is your secret? What's the secret behind that? And also the fact that hard rock was born in England, with all those huge bands which are legendary. Was a pro or a con from your point of view, being from, the same area?
Oh, that's good. I think if you look at we were very fortunate in that we grew up at a time when English rock music was really at its peak. I mean, the early 70s when we were, young boys and teenagers. I mean, if you think about the musicals coming out of the UK then, it's incredible. Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, the Who, Thin Lizzy, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath. I could go on and on and on and on. So many fantastic rock bands. And we were very lucky, we got to go and see most of them. And the influence that had on us as musicians was unbelievable. And the fact that most of those bands we went and saw together. So I think that's one of the reasons why, as an artistic relationship, ours works, is because we have the same kind of frame of reference. And we both like other things as well. We both like soul music, Tamla Motown. There's a lot of that underplaying, maybe it's a subtle influence, but it's a big influence on what Thunder do. So, I mean, shared experience and the fact that we're quite different as people has also helped our relationship. We fit together very well. Danny's very good at things that I'm rubbish at, and I'm good at things that he's rubbish at. So that, we complement each other in a good way.
Yeah. Danny, do you want to add something?
What he said.
Okay. And what do you think, of the revival wave of bands like, I just named few names, but there are more, of course, like, Rival Sons, Greta Van Fleet, or Dirty Honey. Do you see anything of yourselves in them, as all children of classic bands, Led Zeppelin on top? And are they, some way your grandchildren? Do you see them like that?
I think it's entirely possible that they could be our children. Yes. Yes. I mean, we have children everywhere. So it's probably very likely that those are our children. They've become musicians, and hopefully they'll go on to be very successful. Hopefully they have a very long career. Of the bands you mentioned, I think some of them are very good. I really like Rival Sons. I've always thought they were great. I think the singer's got a great voice and the band play really well. Since they moved away from that kind of Led Zeppelin sort of thing they did at the beginning, I think they've really come into their own. Greta Van Fleet, I'm afraid, sound just like a Led Zeppelin tribute band to me, I'm afraid. But the others, I'm not aware of. I think it's I think with all these things, you know, if you're lucky enough to get into a band, that's good, and you get signed to a record label and you get some money spent and some promotion, then hopefully you will attract fans. And if you're lucky to get fans, then you have to find a way to look after them and continue to give them the kind of music that they like you for, because that relationship is very precious. And we've been very lucky that we've maintained that relationship for over 30 years. Hopefully those guys will get a chance to do that as well.
Yeah. What is your personal top 3 of Thunder records and why? And this last one, All the Right Noises, is now in the top 3 for you?
For me,
for its meaning and also for.
I think it's one of our best albums. I think it's very difficult for us to be able to judge that question because we're very, very close to all the records we've made, and they mean maybe different things to us than they mean to people that listen to us. So I don't know, but I think just from a kind of musical and song point of view, I think All the Right Noises. I think Wonder Days is a very good album. I think Backstreet Symphony is a very good album. I'd maybe pick those 3.
And for you, Danny, is the same thing, same top 3, or you have different ones?
Oh, I can't choose. I never can choose. I really like All the Right Noises. When we finished recording it, it was January last year, and normally we would play the record to people straight away because we know it's only going to be a few months until the album is released. But because of the pandemic, we knew the album would be delayed. So it meant that we've spent the last year listening to the record on our own, not playing it to other people.
Yeah.
And last summer, I started running again for the first time for ages, and I started listening to the record while I was running along. And I've now reached the point, a year later, where I've pretty much forgotten that I'm the singer on it, and now I just listen to it like a record. You know, and it's really great. I really like listening to it, but it doesn't feel like me singing it anymore. It feels like someone else.
That's weird. Okay, and it's still fresh album after 1 year for you.
Yeah, I still like it. Yeah, I still like listening to it when I'm running. I can tell you now, if you like running, it's a good record to run to.
So, guys, when you are not involved with Thunder, how much of your day is still dedicated to music, and what do you do apart, from putting you, Danny, one toe over the other, as I heard on the Q&A, and you look loading the dishwasher very well. You're like a champion in it, which was very funny.
I mainly spend a lot of time writing songs. That's what I spend most of my time doing. If I'm not doing that, I like to sort of try and keep reasonably fit, so I cycle. I live near the coast, near Brighton on the south coast of England, so I like to go out and bike occasionally, or walk, or do something. And when I really get time, I like to play golf, but not as often as I'd like to.
Okay. You, Danny?
Well, I spend most of my time trying to get my toes on top of each other. That takes up a lot of my time, and then the rest of the time I'm pretty much making arrangements and shouting at people. It's kind of what I do. I get up in the morning, start shouting, and then I kind of stick with that most of the day until I can't shout anymore or I'm too tired. That's kind of it really for me. That and the toes. I don't really have much time to do anything else.
So that's how you keep your voice so warm, because you shout a lot, making deals and contracts. That's the trick.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, it's so basically shouting is singing practice. Yes.
Last question for tonight. Is there anything you've done in the last 32 years that you won't do again? If you could, if you could go back in time, the main lesson that you have learned, and what are your ambitions in this 2021?
Well, one thing I won't be doing again is a TV special anytime soon.
Why not? That was brilliant.
It was a great result, but it was a very, very difficult thing to do.
Okay.
Really, really hard. It was a lot of work for over a long period of time, trying to get a lot of people to do it. But, you know, and obviously Ben was, so we had to get Rob to play guitar at very short notice, and he had to learn all the songs. That was very nerve-wracking. And just the technical stuff and making it look good and sound good, and then the streaming, and, you know, it's very involved. It's incredibly difficult, you know, and obviously we look like we're having a great time, and we were. When we were performing, we had a great time. It's just all the other bullshit around it, which is very hard.
Yeah. So look, you're going to take the lesson learned and ambitions part.
Okay. Lesson learned. Okay. Well, quite often we get asked, you know, about, you know, it's quite a common question. Somebody will say, oh, my son is learning to play the guitar and he wants to go into the business, and is there any advice you can give him? And answer is always the same from me. I always say, well, tell him to expect to be very disappointed. And I think that is the music business. You know, when it's good, it's kind of what Danny was just saying. The good bits are brilliant. The good bits give you a feeling which is unlike anything else, and a satisfaction and a joy you don't really get from anything else. It's a unique thing. But the bad bits are about as rubbish as they are in any other job, you know.
Okay.
So that's it. Yeah. Look, you know, ambition. Well, I think when you get to our age, you just want to kind of stay around long enough to make the next album and do the next tour. So just that, really. Just to go on enjoying it. You know, because we've been very lucky. We made a lot of records over the years, done a lot of tours, been to a lot of places, met a lot of people.
And we've had a great time. We've had a really great time as well.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it, and we've been very lucky. And you know, so let's.
And you're still living it day by day, so that's another.
Yeah.
Okay, another trick. Okay, good. Thanks, Danny and Luke, for this great interview, for your time. It's been a pleasure, such an honor for me. I'm so excited, and really big compliments once again for the record, which is amazing. And now we're closing the show with She's a Millionairess, which is the song that closes the record, and which we can dedicate to Jerry Miller. She just passed away. The sad news came today, and she was a great journalist, which helped a lot of hard rock and hair metal bands back in the days. And Thunder was one of her favorite bands as well. So I'm sure she will like the song wherever she is now. So thanks very much, guys, and really. Hope to see you soon back on tour in Italy as well. This time, please come around, okay?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao, Danny. Ciao, Luke. Thanks very much. Thunder.
Thank you.